Recording comment.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the August meeting of the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council. Hard to believe we're in August already. Let's start off there. Houston was working on tech. He says it's working. So let's rise and face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Thank you. So as we're all taking our seats and Hugh's working on his technical issues, I need to call out an individual today because, and he won't like it whatsoever, but that's just too bad. But it is Hugh's birthday today.
Tell anybody in this room.
Oh,
Happy birthday, buddy. I know where it came from.
we have a network, Hugh. We just wanted to tell you don't look a day over 25.
I may not look it, but I damn well feel it.
Well, and we just appreciate everything you do. All right, don't forget to sign in. My monthly reminder to see Carrie to get signed in and credit for being here as a board member. Consent calendar number 4. It's a board action item. We have today's meeting agenda and the board minutes from the July 16th meeting. Any comments, questions, edits on the agenda or any item on the consent calendar? Okay, hearing and seeing none. All those in favor of approving consent calendar as presented signify by saying aye. Any opposition? Right, approved. Thank you. All right, well, we will jump right into new business and I will turn it over. I don't know, normally it would be Angel, huh? But let me just turn it over to you for the background on adding an additional.
I received an application from Cord Wagner of El Dorado Hills South to become a director in the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council. The application is in order and complete, and I will be asking for the board to approve the application.
Also,
Second.
Wow. Any comments or questions on the bringing Cord in as a board member? And I will say, while we have this open for comment before taking the final vote, every associate fire safe council is entitled to have a board of director on the board. We amended the bylaws several years ago as we were growing to make sure that it was open to everyone, as well as having the ability to do some members at large. Right now, I don't know the exact number, Angel, but we're probably only at half or 2/3 of the councils have members.
I believe we're at 16 councils have directors.
So just about
and
half.
just about half, yeah.
So anyway, just food for thought going forward, if that's something, because we've been pretty informal, which obviously we would like to keep that as much as possible for our organization. But at the end of the day, it's technically only the board of directors that vote on voting matters for the council. So just keep that in mind going forward if that's something you as councils are interested in. Chris.
I know Cord. We know Cord for quite a time now. He certainly has the experience and the knowledge necessary to be the new blood on our directors. It's always good to have somebody fresh because then you can always go to them to get things done. So I just wanted to say that I do appreciate him wanting to be a director, and I'm willing to support that today. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. I'll give you that 20 later, buddy.
Well, I think you would even had to do that. Right, so we have a motion, a second on the table. All those in favor of approving Cord as a board of director member from El Dorado Hills South signify by saying aye. Any opposition? All right, Cord, you are approved. Welcome. All right, no old business this month. Executive board reports. I have a couple of things from the chair's side. And Angel and the team between Angel, Carrie, and Dorothy and Jessica can give you all the background, but they've been doing a lot of work on website and cleaning up, working on improving our processes. As you saw for the first time, we're utilizing the services available through Streamline to do group emails. And it is a bit of a work in progress as we kind of work through all of that. And I know at the last meeting, I had committed to putting everybody on the one blast with all of the board packet. That was entirely on me as I was transitioning email lists over with Carrie. Just didn't quite get that there. So going forward, we'll work on a process that has an email group so that everyone, per your request, can receive the full board packet. But also know as part of this process, it's also included in the website. So if you just go to the agenda section, all of the meeting information, minutes, agendas, videos are all posted. And we try to, as a minimum, get those things out there 72 hours to a week ahead of time, depending on how we can, how much business we have to try to conduct to get things before we do that. Don't have a lot of detail to share with you yet, but we at the e-board, particularly between Tamara and Janet and I, have been working on sort of a refreshed look at how to address Title III funding. We have, and when Janet gets the treasury report, you'll see what our balance is in Title III. We received an allocation from the county this year, but still it looks like that Title III has not been reauthorized in the federal budget. So there is no additional Title III money coming as far as we can see for the foreseeable future. If that changes, we'll let folks know. But what we've been hearing in feedback is the $200 a year isn't just enough. It really isn't a lot of money to really do much with. And I know many of you have struggled with, I think about half of you have been able to utilize those funds. And so we're looking at a process where we can combine the full breadth of what's allowable under Title III, and whether we've particularly implementation of Firewise community events and activities and CWPP implementation, all things that are spelled out in the law. We're looking at a proposal to bring back out to all of you that would, rather than just do $200 a year, you would get a set amount for the whole year, and this is how much you tell us what you're going to do with it, as long as it's within the framework of Title III. So we're trying to put the nuts and bolts together. Tamara's got a plan for sort of how to organize that. So that's what we will bring back to you, with the idea of implementing it on the first of the calendar year. Again, we can utilize that going forward for the funds available. And then we may be putting Title III on pause once the funds are depleted, until such time as we get more. So just giving that to you as a heads up. We're trying to hear and listen to you all as to what you think you can better utilize Title III funds, and we're trying to be responsive in a way to get that out to you. So more to come there. Memorandum of understanding. So we've been discussing with El Dorado County, because our relationship has really evolved between the county and the council, whether it's assessors training, Title III, day-to-day support, meetings, outreach, all the things that we do, our participation in the many committees and groups that the county's organizing and facilitating on behalf of all of us. We really felt, and the county felt strongly, we should really need to solidify our relationships so that going forward, when we all move on and do different things, it's very clear the sort of the expectations that we each have of each other in a positive way. So the county's drafted something. We're going to bring that to the e-board, take a look, and then get it out to the full board to take a look and see what folks think. But really the idea is to make sure that our relationship is really strengthened going forward, and because we've come a long way with the support we're getting in that. So yes, Chris.
At the Board of Supervisors meeting yesterday, I participated in the morning in-house at the board chambers. But then in the afternoon, there was a discussion by the planning and building department about what they call administrative zoning update. Periodically, they come back to the Board of Supervisors. There is multiple ordinances, as Ken has alluded to, that they're deciding on what responsibility each party may take. And in this case, our group, Fire Safety Council, but also OWAPR, and then the Planning and Building Department itself. So this is critical, as Ken has alluded to get this relationships defined, and that's the way you do it, in a memorandum of understanding. So thank you, Ken, for participating in that.
Thanks, Chris. So more to come there. I mean, it's just in the early stages, but we'll be bringing some things back for all of you to look at. And then lastly, and I don't have a lot of detail, and Mike Webb can talk about it to the level he's comfortable with as well, but I just want to highlight that the PG&E Vegetation Management Program, the executive leadership, has been reaching out and working with the RCD, El Dorado County, and the Fire Safe Council on a grant application that they're making, that PG&E is making on behalf of El Dorado County collectively. And so we've been providing information and finding opportunities where the Fire Safe Council could fit into the grant that they're seeking, and it would be looking at a more focused area in the county. But of course, any support, to our assistance programs and being part of that process was our priority. So it's still evolving as they put the application together. And again, I'll can defer to Mike Webb at any point if he wants to elaborate more, but it's been happening fairly quickly in the last week, because they've got a deadline to receive the funds, and there may be some things that we will have to do down the road as a council. We can have that discussion down the road, but this is a huge commitment. I believe the grant's about $20 million, and PG&E made the decision that they want to have it all here. So it's just a huge partnership piece. And so we obviously want to be at the table and do that. So anyway, more to come there. Some of this is like making sausage, as they say. You never really know what it looks like at the back end, but it's all negotiation. All right, so that is what I have. Turn it over to Dorothy.
And short report. Just a reminder that the vice chair's position also is a representative for the Fire Safe Councils at the OWAPR meeting. And so this month, what I reported out was how our Fire Safe Councils are looking at expanding in some areas of their boundaries, so that we're starting to close in the gaps to the gray area where nobody's covered. So that was a positive thing to be able to say. And with that, the idea of forming possibly more Firewise communities within those areas instead of one big one. Anyway, home assessments, the first 2 quarters of numbers of home assessments that have been completed this year surpassed what has been done in the past in a full year. And that's the first 2 quarters from the last trainings. So that's really awesome. It means a lot of people are out there doing home assessments, and that the activities that our Fire Safe Councils have been participating in just recently have been the National Night Out. We had good participation in different sections of areas. And of course, we're doing greenways and special community events. The biggest piece, though, was also to say, how we have sectioned our county area-wise for Fire Safe Councils in kind of north, south, east, and west quadrant areas, not in a cross, but we have to be unique. So we did it in X marks the spot kind of a way. In every single quadrant area, I know we have to be unique. There are activities that are happening with Fire Safe Councils. National Night Out was represented in all the 4 quadrant areas. We've got special events in all the 4 quadrant areas, and greenways just happening. So what does that say? Lots of good things. You guys are doing an awesome job out there in the community in all of El Dorado County, not just in the section. So, and a report.
All right. Angel Secretary's report.
I want to talk a little bit about the email blast, and I do love numbers, so here goes. We sent out 323 emails via the website with our agenda for today's meeting. 80% of those were opened, so thank you for opening the email, because that's part of reading the agenda.
Wrapping them
They're actually.
Oh.
And I think what's exciting, and Carrie and I talked about this yesterday, was only 6 email addresses bounced. So that means out of the 323, only 6 people didn't get the delivery of the agenda, the board packet, the treasury report, etc. So I hope you see it as a value, and if you have any questions or concerns about it, please let me know, and we'll work on it.
Just a quick one.
Yes, Chris?
Just a quick one. I just want to make sure I understand what you just said.
Okay.
I get an email from Ken. I'd love to get emails from Ken.
Wow, he's like, I think he's the only one.
Pretty personal, okay. That were important too, Ken. But I got 2 and they looked exactly the same. So I was just wondering, is that part of what we're trying to sort out? Because I did get 2 exact emails. And in both of them, there was no treasurer's report.
There was
So I was just wondering whether or not that is what you're talking about right now is coming together and this is just growing pains. Thank you.
I would say yes. And I apologize for you not getting the treasurer's report. That came on Monday, so you may have another email in your
Could be in spam.
could be in spam. I doubt it. I hope they didn't go to spam, but yes. So once we built both of them, we'll have to go back and double check and make sure you're not in several email I'll call them lists. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'll apologize for not having the treasurer's report completed by the time the original email went out. I did not get the information back from our bookkeeper, so I worked on that over the weekend.
Okay, and boundary changes and new council formation. I want to talk about them a little bit together. There are no new council formations because when I receive an interested request, I try and connect them with an existing associate fire safe council. And what takes place once those 2 people meet and they decide that they want to be part of that fire safe council, it normally requires a boundary change, and the executive board is working on a boundary change procedure so that you know what steps to take when you decide to change a boundary, whether it's adding a parcel or adding 100 acres or whatever, you'll know what to do. And planning on bringing that back to you in September or October for approval. Do you have any questions about boundary changes? Oh, no. Go, David.
So Angel, when I met with you and Tanya, was that official?
Yes, it was official.
Okay, so I know what to do. Bye.
Thank you. If you have any questions about how to do it, you can see David. Thank you.
Thanks, Angel. Okay, next up, treasurer's report, Janet.
Good morning, everybody. As I mentioned earlier, your treasurer's report came out separately from the agenda. The timing of getting all the reports from our bookkeeper after checks go in sometimes is a little more challenging than other months. This was one of those months. So I appreciate your patience, and you will always get it in advance. It just may be a secondary email, but thank you. So the treasurer's report, if you did have an opportunity to look at the document that came out on Monday, and I'm trying to open mine up really quick so I have it. The face page, the initial page, the year-to-date expense report for the Fire Safe Council, I modified ever so slightly based on some feedback from our last meeting that the information at the top which was the balance of our fund balance for the Fire Safe Council proper. Didn't make sense at the top in terms of how the math flowed. So on this one, I modified it. So at the top of the document, what you're going to see is how much we've received in fiscal sponsor fees this month. And that will carry into a year-to-date balance. So on the report, you will know how much in fiscal sponsor fees we have added to our bank account cumulatively over the year. The second piece of the report is our standard expenses. The new budget that we all approved in May has been input here so that you can see how we're doing actual expenditures to budget. And then at the very bottom, total Fire Safe Council operations fund balance, that is the balance that sits in QuickBooks for the given month. So that number is the balance that as of July 31st. For this month, and that will be updated monthly so you can see how that changes over time. What you will see here is that we received $15,000 in fiscal sponsor fees for the month, and we spent $17,000 in expenditures. So the net impact to our true fund balance was $2,000 for the month. If you have any questions, or are there any questions about this particular page? Hearing none. The grants page has not changed. What you will be seeing are some deletions of grants as we go through. The Stevens Authority that is designated 20 CA. We believe we're at the end of that grant, although there is an opportunity maybe for an extension in time, which would allow us to spend more chipping money. But the project money at the top for Sierra Springs, Grizzly Flat, and Gold Ridge, those projects are completed as far as the RCD is concerned. So as soon as I reconcile them between their books and our books, Mark, that's only the 21, not the 22 one. There's a secondary grant. I saw Mark panic. His face told me everything. 2 grants. We're not done with that. So as I finalize the billing, those may fall off in the next couple of reports. We are still working on the 22 grant, the ones that are identified by 22 CA. It looks like we will be requesting an extension of time. Those grants were supposed to expire on November 15th, but we're not quite there with the RCD to complete those by that date. So Tamara and I are working on an extension for those. Other than that, the hazardous tree grant at the bottom of the fuels treatment, I'm probably going to split that grant up into 2 places. We have approval from CAL FIRE to use some of that grant for chipping, and the cost that you see there, the $31,000, is for chipping expenses. So I may split that grant into 2 places. It will say hazard tree, but it will reside in the chipping for the amount that we have approval from CAL FIRE to use for chipping. Any questions on the grant page? I'll take a motion on that.
Yeah, any questions, comments on the treasurer's report?
Thank you, Janet.
Chuck.
Is that on?
Yep.
Hey, Chuck Schnell from Camino. Yeah, I just want to say I didn't get it despite promises. I don't know if I'm the only one, but I knew it was coming late. And I checked as late as this morning. It wasn't there. So I think they just did an anomaly, or maybe that'll help fix the system.
Yeah, I don't know if you were here yet or not, Chuck, but I acknowledged in the beginning that in this transition to the web-based email blast that I failed in getting that moved over. So your point well taken. So everybody will be getting everything from here on out. All right, any other questions or comments on Treasurer's report? All right, all those in favor of approving the Treasurer's report as presented by Janet signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Right, Treasurer report approved as presented. Thank you.
A couple of other things. We received a donation, a direct donation from PG&E employees Apparently PG&E has a program where their employees can donate to causes. And there were 2 donations for $125. To the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council, and the other cool part of that is PG&E matches 2 to 1. So we actually received back up 375 from donations from PG&E and its employees. So we have put that into our main checking at this point in time until we determine if there's a particular cause, but there was no restrictions to it, and so it is now sitting in our main account.
I just wanted to say that, do we send something back to acknowledge this nice gesture on their part? It seems like if they have an employees group or somebody that you could send, that might create some more relationships back to us. So I was just wondering if there's a way we could do that. Thank you.
Yes, generally when I get donations, we do. Tamara was the one who did the research on this. I don't know if we have an idea where.
In this case, it was donated through an online system and there's no contact information for the people who donated.
You could give me a generated letter and I could get it to the appropriate location.
Perfect, thank you.
Great. So for those maybe that did, that was Mike Webb saying he'll take care of that. So
Thank
we
you,
will
Mike.
get that. Thanks, Mike.
I want to thank each and every one of the associate fire safe councils. This was probably the smoothest profit and loss period that we've had since I took over as treasurer. All of them were completed by basically the beginning of August, and that's super cool. Because often I'm kind of poking at people into September and October. So I want to thank each of you for the work that you put in on that. They came in, they were really smooth. Everything worked the way it was supposed to. So I will provide that information to our bookkeeper to input into our QuickBooks file for the expenditures. And then I will be able to initiate the taxes for the 24-25 year and the 24-25 audit. So we will be able to get on those things earlier than normal, but big round of applause for all of you and your treasurers. Awesome job. And then lastly for me, the first in the home assessment stipend transfers were completed the end of July and the beginning of April. So you should have received your home assessment stipend in your bank account if you have a bank account. If you do not have a bank account, I'm holding those until we determine if we're going to do something different. But the policy currently reads that stipends will be transferred to your bank account. So that I think went really well. Thank you to Fort Jim for putting up with the error that I made on yours, where I transferred it twice and had to take some of it back. But so please do check the email file that I send out to you and match it to your bank statement to make sure that I transfer the appropriate amount. 2 eyes are always better than one. With that, end of report.
Great, thank you, Janet. Next up, partners reports. I don't see anyone from BLM, but I do see CAL FIRE. Good morning. Looks like Jeff.
Good morning.
Come on.
Good morning, thanks, Ken. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jeff Hogue. I'm the assistant chief here in CAL FIRE Amarillo Eldorado unit for our community risk reduction program. So a couple things, not a ton to report on today, but just some minor updates. Staffing. We are looking at getting additional defensible space inspectors in the unit. And not only we found some budget internally, but we're going to thank Hugh Council for hosting myself along with some folks from our Sacramento budget office in doing a presentation, more of a show and tell on what our DSIs do, with the intent to hopefully staff our defensible space inspectors year-round full-time. So it would be nice to get that critical position filled more frequently and consistently. We're working on developing some new fuel breaks, not only with El Dorado County, but Amador County as well. working along with the project coordination group, on determining those boundaries, and so that is in process. That's all I have on that for now. Those of you who live up in North County, you may have seen some smoke in the air about 2 weeks ago. That was our Bear Ranch BMP. So we burned off, I think it was about 65 acres, 65 or so acres. They were able to get done that day. There is still, I believe 30 or 40 acres that we have left. So just know that during fire season, that's like an optimal time for us to also burn. So like when we have the opportunity to do fuel reduction projects, we don't have drawdown. It's like a whole approval process and stuff like that. There's certain prescriptions as far as weather and that type of thing that has to happen. But when we have that opportunity to burn and we have the resources in place and everybody gets the approval, we're going to go ahead and continue to do that throughout the fire season. And just know, like, we have all our control lines and everything in place there. And we treat it like a hostile vegetation fire. So we go through the contained period and then ultimately control, so that we do send folks out every single day. And we have to go 3 days with additional smoke, so heat on the fire before we actually call the snake control. So there will always be somebody out patrolling those fires, even during BMPs. And also there's going to be an article along with the Georgetown Fire Safe Council and the Georgetown Gazette that Tamara is working on with Chief Eric Whitaker. That's all I have for the COP fire side, but I don't see anybody from the El Dorado County FPOs here, so I'm happy to jump in. And
Yes, please.
We're in the code adoption cycle for the 2025 fire code, and this year there will be the new part 7 of Title 24, which is going to be the California WUI code. This will be a brand new thing. The intent of that is to have one place where all the wildfire regulations are housed. That's going to include things like home hardening, so your Chapter 7A, fire safe regulations, defensible space, all those other types of things. Because as they've been, a little over here, it's kind of hard for everybody to see. So now it's all going to be housed within the WUI code, and the FPO group is working on that adoption process to be taken to the board of supervisors this fall. With that, we report.
Any questions for Jeff or CAL FIRE?
Yes, sir.
Just a quick question. Are all your inspectors, are they all sworn officers?
They are not sworn. They are just inspectors. So their goal is to go out and to do an inspection of the property. So they're not like sworn peace officers. That's what you're asking.
And one more question. If you have an idea, it seems like a lighter than average year as far as fire.
No, but it's not.
Oh, here we go.
He did it. He did it.
Saying, what would you do? Why would you do
Wow.
And our most devastating fires. Majority of those really devastating fires, those wind-driven fires, the ones that like are historical, things happen in the fall. We're going in that transition between seasons, and we start to get those big bellows of winds and stuff like that. So even though our initial attack has been slightly off average up to this point this year, we're still being diligent and looking forward to the fall months, because this is what we know would be most.
Yeah. And we can't forget that 2 of the state's most devastating fires happened this year in January. So there's that work here, but it was just state.
Fire season's here.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you, Jeff. Good, thank you. Well, I see she's chomping at the bit, so we will turn it over to Tanya Harlow. And Jeff was not even done talking and she was taking the microphone. So Tanya.
Just wanted to make sure I made my way up here. Okay. Good morning. I'm Harlow from OWAPR. Start out by saying we are going through a lot of changes with staffing in our office and at the county also. As you probably have heard, the CAO, El Dorado County CAO Tiffany is going to be moving on. So our department head is Sue Henneke. So she will be stepping into acting an interim CAO for the foreseeable future. And while that is happening, I will be stepping into program manager role for OWAPR. We also have as you probably already heard, Richard Galvin has also moved on from the county. So he is pursuing his other aspirations, and so we are hoping for him to do great things. And with that, we also at the same time brought on 3 new defensible space inspectors. So we are very busy with training those new inspectors, trying to figure out what everybody's roles are. So with all of that being said, just be patient with us as we transition all of this. And so we're trying not to have a lapse in services with you guys, but if there is a little bit, we're getting on it. Weber Creek, just a really quick update with that. We are in process of hiring a construction manager for the project. That should be happening within the next few weeks. There is 74 identified no issue parcels in the project area, so those will be able to have work done on them. With those no issue parcels, there will be a town hall kickoff in a few weeks with just those homeowners to let them know this is how you sign up to be part of the project. So we are making movement on the Weber Creek project. Public education and outreach, we have been as a team, the Public Outreach Committee has been going to all of the different events. So we did that National Night Out in a coordinated way. We're also pretty busy up in Georgetown area. They had an evacuation town hall and they've had a Firewise meeting just to let them know how to become Firewise. There is not a lot of Firewise communities up in the Divide area, so I'm trying to change that. They have another one on this Saturday. I also got to visit at Fort Jim at their Fire Safe Council meeting. And we're also going to be meeting next week, the Public Outreach Committee, and we're going to be talking about doing an education campaign, as Jeff mentioned, on prescribed burning. So there was a lot of questions when the burn was happening. It's August and people like, why are you burning? And that is kind of given us an opportunity to educate the public on what prescribed burn is and why it's beneficial. California Fire Safety Council. So right now I am being funded by the California Fire Safe Council grant. It's a CAL FIRE grant for the county coordinator. It's administered by Fire Safe Council. Excuse me. I had my progress report with my grant specialist with the Fire Safe Council. So what I did was I bragged about this county for an hour and everything that we are doing, and they are just blown away. So I talked about the relationship the Fire Safe Council has with all the partner agencies, how all of our partner agencies are constantly at the table showing up, and that we really, really do all work together. So not just the development of the CWPP, but the implementation of it, the project coordination group, everything we're doing, we're all doing together. We are light years ahead of other counties with what we're doing here. So everybody should be very proud. They are very impressed. I'm very proud, so good job. The MOU that Ken mentioned, that kind of just ties into that. You know, we see the value in the Fire Safe Council, the county does. We want to keep the county, the Fire Safe Council at the table in all things. So the county is going to agree to continue to do the things that we are doing so far. So, including Fire Safe Council on all of our working groups and implementing the CWPP, GIS support, supporting your applications for grants, supporting Title III funding, outreach, giving you presentations to the board. So all of these things we as a county are going to continue to do, despite who leadership is, despite, you know, who is here doing OWOPR and the county. We want to make sure that no matter who's here, this relationship is memorialized. Excuse me, goodness. Project coordination. Tamara will talk more about it, about grants that were applied for. Those grants were applied after a project coordination working group meeting. And I just want to express how, I mean, Jeff mentioned it too, that this project coordination group meeting, it is all of the partner agencies, and not just that, but we have utilities on there, we have roads, everybody is on there that has a stake in all of these projects, and projects that are being coordinated are so informed and strategic. And it's really exciting. So this is a good way to be implementing the CWPP. And I think that's it. If anybody has any questions.
The difference between OWAPR principal space inspector and a fire safe council assessment.
The Fire Safe Council assessors are volunteer. That's you guys. You are volunteering. You're taking your time to go out there and educate residents on defensible space and home hardening. Those are not enforceable assessments. Those are just educational, not just. I hate the word just. They're educational. They are meant to let homeowners know not just what they have to do, but what they should be doing to be fire safe. Inspections, CAL FIRE inspectors, county inspectors, local fire inspectors are going out there doing inspections that are enforceable and need to be compliant with the county's ordinance. We're not writing citations. It's also very educational. Inspections are very educational. We want to work with homeowners to reach voluntary compliance. So we're not trying to go out there and just enforce on everybody who's not compliant. We're trying to get people to be compliant. There isn't a lot of emphasis. There is some emphasis on home hardening, but not a lot. Not like what assessors do. Assessors go out and you're trying to tell people how to strengthen their homes in order to be more fire safe. Our focus isn't so much on that as it is on defensible space and the ordinance. Does that answer your question? Anybody else?
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. Next up, it looks like we have Chief Cordero, El Dorado County Fire Chiefs Association. Chief Cordero.
Good morning. Not a whole lot to report out from the Fire Chiefs Association. We did have some resources that are still down south at the Gifford Fire and a couple other fires, but they should be coming back today, tomorrow, and the next day. It's been a bit of an interesting fire season, kind of some ebbs and flows. And then based on some conversations out of OWAPR and the project group, over the last couple of weeks, we will be discussing some defensible space inspector options, possibilities at our next Fire Chiefs meeting, which is September 24th. End of report.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief Cordero? Right. Thank you. All right. Looks like from El Dorado National Forest, we have Jacoby Waters. Good morning, Jacoby.
Everybody hear me? Jacoby Waters, Deputy Chief, El Dorado National Forest. I don't even know why I came up here. I just came up here to see your wonderful faces. But it was fun. Really, all I have is that you'll see possibly a lot of our resources. We're fully staffed, but a lot of resources are going across the nation, different states to fight fires because we're not having so many here, right? And so you'll see us bringing other resources in from other areas just to make sure we have coverage. So I think it's a very good thing that we haven't had anything major. And so I'm gonna knock on wood, make sure it stays that way. I would like to say though, that might be because we're doing such a good job in defensible space and the job that we're doing here has led to that. But that's my 2 cents. If anybody has questions for me, go for it.
Do you have a viewpoint on representatives of the Twin Talk trying to introduce? There was a bill I heard talked about on the news, pretty much forcing Forest Service to put out every fire. Have you heard about that?
I have, and you can. So I will watch what I say, but we are already trying to put out every fire as soon as they come up, right? So we are putting every resource on a fire that comes up as we get called to it. CAL FIRE gets called to it. We're doing everything we can to put fires out as they come up, whatever that looks like. So as far as somebody else telling us what to do, we already have from the Washington office telling us you're going to put fires out or respond under this time. We're already doing that, but we'll continue to do that. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
money for, added to, Eldor, men on Twin Bridges. Funding, that moves distance between Twin Bridges and, Decker Summit, with all the damage and, trees up there. Is there any resolution or any additional funding that comes through for that?
So from my knowledge, we are still moving into removing hazardous trees on the corridor. We are actually moving towards different hazardous reduction, tree removal, and we're actually but collaborating with SPI to help us do that. So as far as moving farther up, I haven't heard anything about us running out of money. We don't have a money problem. We have a resource problem, or just having knowledge of what the next steps will be. So I would tell you that we will continue to keep moving up that way and get rid of those hazardous trees as best that we can. I just haven't heard anything about us running out of money. That being said, our processes of doing things have been turned on their heads because of resources that we don't have. As far as funding goes, it's constantly changing. We just don't know what that looks like the next day. Or being access to the funding that's out there. So we're finding other ways. We're working with partners. SPI is one of them, to continue the work. But from what I know, the Washington office has told us that we need to deliver a certain amount of board feet a year, and that contributes to the board feet that we need to do our jobs.
I think Chris first and then Mark.
Jacoby,
You're pretty unique. Your personality, the fact that you're willing to come up here to the podium without being asked, this makes you unique in that regard. So thank you for that. I was going to make a report under open forum on Tom McClintock. He's our 5th District, California House of Representative. HR 178 and 179, 178 put out the Fire Act, 179 Proven Forest Management Act have passed committee. So they've gone out of committee, which means then they'll end up with the full House. Then it goes to the Senate. Then it has to be agreed upon between the two bodies. And then it has to go to the president to become law. So there's a lot of effort incurred in that. But I just wanted to let you know that it had passed committee, and therefore it's on its way. Regardless of whether it's needed or not, the attention that we're getting in terms of El Dorado County is very unique, and I thank you for some of that. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. I don't think I have very much to do with a lot of that, but I can tell you that there has been a move to separate fire from the rest of the Forest Service, and I'm sure that's part of what you're talking about. We have no idea what that looks like. There is a lot of confusion in the works of what that's going to look like, where it's moving to, and so I look forward to seeing. You'll probably hear about it before I do, but we're probably a ways down the road before we figure out what that looks like.
Mark.
Uh-oh.
Quick question, Mark Homer from Grizzly Flats, and what can you tell us, what you know about the rebuild of the station up in Grizzly Flats? It looks like there's a somewhat admin building that has been put back on the site. I don't know if it's staffed or not yet. I see your folks driving around every once in a while. Is there going to be a station coming back up there anytime within my lifetime?
That's a loaded question. So
thank you.
The idea of it is yes. Short answer, yes. We are working on trying to rebuild a Grizzly Flats station. We are actually in the process of moving some kind of, not necessarily a yurt, but trailers or something to put folks into. So while we're working on the station, it's just a long process. The Forest Service doesn't do anything really fast, right? It's like moving a giant cruiser ship. You're going to turn really slow. So that's kind of where we're at. But short answer, yes. The plan of it is to do it as far as your lifetime. It could be a couple of years. It could be 30 years. I don't know. No, I don't know if it'll be that long. But we're working on it.
Okay, thanks. And you guys are great neighbors up there, so can't wait to have you back.
Well, thank you. That's the intent. We are working on it.
And it's no commentary, Mark, on how old you are in your lifespan. I just want you to, it could be decade.
I mean, another 100 years easy, right?
Yeah, exactly. Cameron's got a question.
I wonder if you want to tell us about the grants you're applying for from Sierra Nevada.
Sure. I thought that was common knowledge, but since we don't know what our budget's gonna look like for next year, I'm always trying to find other funding. So we're in the process of applying for an SNC grant to do some work around the Slide Park area right beneath the school and the water treatment area, adjacent to the homes in that area over there. And so the idea of it is to get equipment in there and masticate and chip. We're not trying to build piles. We're just trying to eliminate the fuel so you don't have catastrophic fire in that area where it's leading out from there. And then in Georgetown, we have a couple of areas of Darling Ridge where we're trying to further create fuel breaks in the case of fire coming from either direction so we can protect the area. So the idea of it is to still protect the Woolly area at the best of our ability, leading forward to not really having an idea what tomorrow looks like, trying to think about that before time and figure out other ways and other sources to get it done.
Okay. That's fine. Right, for not having anything to say, that was pretty good, Jacoby. Thank you. All right, RCD, I see Courtney stepping up. Good morning.
Good morning. Courtney Jackson with the RCD. Is it just me or is it cold in here?
It's just you. It's just you.
Well, to give you some brief updates on some of the projects. In regards to the hazardous tree removal along Highway 50 and some of the cabin tracks where we are getting ready to launch that in September. We should have the crews on the ground there. We're also expanding some roadways in Coloma Lotus, and we are collecting right of entries for those new road segments, and those should be, hopefully we will get more very quickly because we'd like to get work on the ground there, starting hopefully as early as the fall. And the South County fuel reduction, those shaded fuel breaks in OMO are still being masticated, and roadside operations will be expected to begin along Pleasant Valley Road by the end of the month. In Spanish Flat, we're still working there. We've got shaded fuel break work. We've got hand crews along Traverse Creek, courtesy of the Garden Valley Fire Department. And we are also flagging our new unit in Traverse Creek for shaded fuel breaks. As far as the Stevens Authority 22, we're on track for completing without an extension. I just confirmed again. So that is the Volcanoville, Grizzly Flats, and Sierra Springs. They are winding down. In Mosquito, the EFRT, the Recovery and Restoration Project, we're awaiting a operations schedule from a contractor. And Marshall Road, roadside fuel reduction, that is winding down as well. We are starting a new project in Auburn Lake Trails, and Mike might want to talk about that further when he gives his report. Any questions? All right. Oh, David.
Just jealous because he's not asking the question. Carly, can you tell me, I saw Growlersburg working on the trail near the jail there, near Forney. Can you tell me anything about Growlersburg projects?
That's not our project,
Oh,
so,
it's not yours? It's not RCD?
no,
Oh, I thought for sure.
but
mine
it
was.
looks great,
Yeah.
and I've enjoyed it.
Great, thank you, Courtney. Right, I don't see Eric Brown here today from SMUT, so we will move on. We do have Mike Webb from PG&E. Mike, online, you have the floor.
Hey, good morning, Fire Safe Council. As Ken mentioned earlier in his opener, we have been working with El Dorado County and specifically with the RCD, the Fire Safe Council, and the OWOPR in our attempt to scope and apply for a grant through the California Energy Commission. The grant is called a Community Energy Reliability and Resilient Investment Grant. We call that CERI. And basically CERI, it's looking for projects that reduce the frequency and duration of power outages for communities across California, strengthen communities' ability to function during power outages, ensures that the benefits of clean, safe, affordable, and reliable energy are shared by all, advances California climate energy goals, and create high quality jobs and strong labor standards. So our work group, Wildfire Strategy, Kevin Johnson and Derek have been very successful at basically weaving utility safety into community safety, and community safety meaning wildfire safety and resilience. And they've made a really strong business case for that, especially here in El Dorado County, where we have the largest number of acres in our high fire hazard threat areas. We have the highest number of customers in those areas and the highest number of line miles in those areas. So with all that being said, you know, they are frantically, I would say frantically, they are working diligently to meet an application deadline here by the end of next week. And they have the full force of the company behind them because there are many other places that we could have, you know, in our service territory, which is huge, it's 48 counties, where we could have, you know, where this money could have been applied. And you know, discussions with higher levels of the company, evaluation of company risk, and the decision was made to focus on this grant for El Dorado County. So one of the caveats is that it requires a 100% match, and the grant is a $20 million grant. So what drives that is we're all well aware of all the undergrounding and hardening that's occurred in and around our communities. So, you know, those line miles add up very quickly to meet that match as well. So we're excited about the opportunities. The grant is pretty expansive as it, you know, enhances and improves existing programs. We'll continue to look to fund job opportunities for, you know, maybe some fuel reduction crews and those sorts of things. It'll focus on our transmission right-of-ways and our distribution power lines with some enhanced vegetation removal programs, you know, voluntary. And, you know, starting to spread out and away from the power lines where landowners support that. And so it is exciting to think about that kind of money, but it is a grant. So we'll stay high level. We'll get our ducks in a row. We'll engage all of our partners. And, you know, it'll be fun to report back someday if this is successful. So I just wanted to thank, I'm looking here at Ken on the screen, Tanya, and the RCD, and I know we've tapped and asked a lot of you guys in the last couple of weeks, and you guys are the reason they're here. You are really good at what you're doing, and I always showcase that into the company as much as I can, and so we'll keep them coming and do our best to support that. The other thing I did want to report out, I was not available to attend the project coordination meeting, Nate, but I did receive, I have the KMZ shape files for all of the undergrounding and hardening projects that have occurred in El Dorado County, and I can share those with the OWOPR, and hopefully we can get a layer on the OWOPR map so we can start to see where those PG&E investments for safety and wildfire safety have populated that map as well as we start to, you know, look about, you know, that resilient landscape and safe communities. We can have all those components on there. So that's all I wanted to report, Ken. If there's any questions, please, let's have them.
Any questions for Mike? Yeah. David?
Mike, a couple things. One is that match, that concerned me a bit. Can you tell us if there's any match already being done? And can we document all of our Firewise investment towards that match? In other words, the community has made the effort to document home hardening and vegetation mitigation work. So how do we do the match? I guess I'll start with that one.
Yeah, so PG&E is applying for this grant. So we are writing the application. We are providing the match for the year 2025. It is estimated that we will complete 76 miles of undergrounding at about $1 to $3 million a mile. So I think the match is very easily achieved and work achieved this year and for what's planned next year, another 56 miles for next year. So the match is pretty well taken care of as far as PG&E is concerned.
Thank you, Mike. I didn't understand that part. And also, Mike, can we get maybe over to Tanya and Owapper, the work you do, we can use to document to support our Firewise communities, because all that is investment that, you know, has to do with defensible space. If there's a way that we could get hours, dollars, or something, and then the geography of it, so we can apply it to our Firewise, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, that's an incredibly difficult ask when you consider all the different lines of business between vegetation, electrical undergrounding, electrical overhead. I don't know how I could package up and put that forth in any kind of way. That's a difficult challenge, but I don't know how to respond honestly to the question. So I don't know if I could deliver on that for you.
Rats and thanks.
No, appreciate that, Mike. Any other questions for Mike? So I'm just going to say thank you to Mike and the folks at PG&E. They've been very patient with us, particularly with me, as I've tried to advocate for the Fire Safe Council's mission and how it would fit into the grant. And they've been listening. And you know, not a surprise to anybody but you, but Mike is probably the best single-handed advocate for all of us when he works with his company and the leadership and trying to help articulate what it is we all do on the ground. And so, Mike, thank you immensely for continuing to do that. And
likewise, Ken, you guys are helping the utility industry understand risk, and reduction of risk is not right at the wire. It's across the landscape. And we have validated through our relationships here in El Dorado County that there is a return on investment in doing wildfire fuels reduction by utility companies. And so it's fresh, it's raw. We don't know, you know, you could tell it's still clunky how we align our risk, but we're doing it, and we're doing it here, buddy. So that a testament to you guys too, man.
Thank you. Well, and you've heard a common theme, I think, from every one of the partners this morning. You've heard project coordination working group. Everybody that's in this room that's representing an agency organization has been part of that. And just having been into that meeting yesterday, the room keeps growing. It was packed both online and in the Forest Service conference room. SPI, PG&E, like Mike said, well, leadership from PG&E was on there yesterday. CAL FIRE. I mean, everyone is at the table starting to realize that the best way to get all this work done is to start talking about it together, and just the leadership between Owapper, CAL FIRE, the RCD, and many others in bringing that sort of together. So it's always a work in progress, but it is just amazing to see now when we start putting everything up on the wall, how much is getting done and who's applying for what, and starting to talk about how do we strategize. So hugely thanks to PG&E, Mike, for bringing you all to the table. Next up, looks like we have Deputy Baird for EDSO. Scott, you have the floor.
All right, how's it going, everybody? I'm Scott Bair from the County OES. I don't have that much to report on right now, except for in the past month, we did do a countywide test to test our emergency alert system. We got a lot of good feedback from the county on that, and we're trying to improve some of the issues we had with that. With Brave to improve the system. We've also been working with other partners like PG&E Mike Webb on ways to improve our system. It's currently the best loading process that we've had in our county to date, and with working with these partners, it's only going to get better. So if you have any questions, I'm going to stick around for our 12:30 Brown Bag meeting, so I can answer all your questions then. Unless there's a quick question, Chris.
Emphasis on quick.
I did pretty well the last couple of times.
Yes, you did.
You and I were together a few weeks ago at the Lake Oaks Clubhouse.
Yes.
You also were providing them information about emergency evacuation and what might be available, rave, perimeter. When you talk about the system, are you talking about those, or particularly which part of it are you interested in?
Yeah, the whole system in general. I mean, we have a layered process. We do evacuations. We still go door to door, and then we have our emergency alerts, Alert County emergency alerts, or rave, whatever you want to call it, same thing. There's our alerting program for that to let people know through text, email, voicemail, and then perimeter is also something we tie into that, which is our mapping software, so that people can get a visual. So when you get one of those rave alerts, there'll be a little link. You click that, it'll bring you to the perimeter map. You can see a visual of what's happening. Thank you. All right, is that it?
I think we're good.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. All right, lastly, Bureau of Reclamation. I don't know if Zarella is in the room. Can't quite see. Well, I don't see her online. Okay, so we will defer to next month for Zarella. So with that, brings us up to program reports, grants. Tamara.
Okay, so I still don't have word on the advance for the California Fire Safe Council grant. That's the outreach and education grant. Yeah, it's been almost a year. I will just read you what I got from our program officer there. He says their finance team has been working closely with a new staff member at the Forest Service that is processing the request. While I do not have an ETA yet, I know it has been defined as a priority. So you can take what you will from that. I love that they think we're so great, Tanya. I'm glad to hear that. I just wish they would give us some money. So in the next meeting, maybe show us the money, exactly. So grants that have been submitted since the last meeting, I'm not sure if I reported on this, but we did apply to Pioneer Energy's Community Give Back program. We asked for $10,500 for the assessor training program that'll cover training and some stipends, training cost, and web design for creating a web section on our website just for assessors. So we'll see if we get that. We applied for 1.5 million from the BLM California Forest and Woodlands Resource Management Program that will cover doing NEPA on BLM lands, primarily in North County, but there will hopefully be more money to do beyond North County. So the goal of that is to have the BLM lands ready to go. So when they're included in our other projects, implementation won't be held up by the time it takes to do NEPA on those lands. So that's actually a really, I think that'll be really beneficial, and it's very likely we'll get the money since the person reviewing the grants is actually helped me write the grant. So, so a little bit of a rigged system in our favor. We also applied for the National Forest Foundation grant, $70,000 to support the project coordination working group. It's actually that the county is the actual applicant for this grant, but we wrote it on their behalf. It'll support the OWOPR staff time that staffs that project coordination working group, and a big chunk of it will go to GIS services. The county's GIS department is pretty impacted by budget cuts and staffing cuts. So this will ensure that we have money to basically pay them to do GIS for us, because it'll be dedicated to our project. And then finally, the thing that almost put me right over the edge this month were the 5 CAL FIRE grants that we applied for. I don't know if everybody realized this, but normally CAL FIRE actually gives 2 to 3 months turnaround time between the time they put the grants out and the time they're due. And this year it was a month. And we applied for 5. So the max for each grant was 950,000. So we applied just around that for each of them. We applied one for the chipping program, one for the Defensible Space Assistance Program, one in the North Planning area, which included Guard Valley Road, roadside fuel reduction, and then Rock Creek Road in the Mosquito area, which is retreatment. That was a maintenance that was treated, I believe, in 2020. So it's time to retreat it. And maintenance was a big push of this CAL FIRE round. They really wanted to focus on maintenance. They also wanted to focus on projects that were implementation ready, because the grant period is only 3 years. It's shorter than normal. And the emphasis for this year is really getting money on the ground as quickly as possible and showing that we're producing acreage. So we really tried to tailor our grant applications, towards that focus. So Guard Valley Road is CEQA ready and Rock Creek is retreatment. And then we also included, as I've talked a lot about already, we included a chunk for doing planning in the North County area. And that would be, where ideally we want to put the next projects, and doing CEQA, kind of pre-CEQA work, again, to get those projects implementation ready. So when we go to apply for more grants, they're more competitive. In the South Planning area, we applied for roadside on 4 roads that are kind of come in at the Four Corners area. I think it was about 32 miles of roads. A section of it was retreatment on Stream Canyon Road. And then also planning for wildfire prevention plans for 7 one-way in, one-way out subdivisions. So the Crystal, Monitor, Oak Hill, Hanks Exchange, Church Mine, Addingdale, Bozer Gulch, and the Happy Valley area. So doing planning in those areas. And then in the East Planning area, we applied for a 360-acre fuel break in the Texas Hill area. The goal of this is it ties into a lot of work that's already happened in Texas Hill. It supports a fuel break there would heavily protect Placerville, our county seat. It's CEQA ready. It's got 100% landowner buy-in through ROEs. So in a lot of ways, it's probably our most competitive project, because immediately when we get the grant, we'll be able to put that right on the ground. And it also ties in with some vegetation management program for CAL FIRE. So I just want to talk about the process for this. First of all, it was super quick turnaround, as I mentioned, which made it kind of crazy making in a lot of ways. It would have been impossible without the project coordination working group and kind of the groundwork we've already laid through the CWPP. We never would have been able to do it otherwise. So we worked with the project coordination working group to plan these projects, make sure we weren't overlapping with what anybody else was doing, like Jacoby talking about what the Forest Service is applying for Sierra Nevada Conservancy in the Sly Park area, because I know there's a unit in the next to Rancho del Sol that people are very interested in. So rather than us applying for that, the Forest Service is applying for it, because the SNC is a funder that's more appropriate for Forest Service lands than for private lands. So that coordination, I think, has been really beneficial in us kind of figuring out where we're putting these projects for the grant proposals. And then also what was really helpful is CAL FIRE was able to get their priority area maps up on the layer on the OWAPR mapping tool. So we were able to tie in our projects with where CAL FIRE is saying their priority areas are. So hopefully that will increase our competitiveness for these projects. And then of course, just as an FYI, there's a lot of other people applying for CAL FIRE grants in our county. So there's no way we're going to get all 5 of these grants. I know. From the ones I know about, the SPI in collaboration with another nonprofit, which I can't remember the name of it, applied for fuel reduction roadside work on Wentworth Springs Road from Georgetown up to past Blodgett, I think. Past Stumping, I'm not sure, pretty far. And then maybe a section on Ice House Road, I believe, as well. EID is applying for funding to do fuel reduction around some of their wood and flume areas. That was CAL FIRE, right? Janet and Ken, that was a CAL FIRE grant, I believe.
I can't remember.
Yeah, they talked about it yesterday.
Pretty sure it is.
Did they apply for it anyway?
No, that was a separate.
Oh, it wasn't CAL FIRE? Okay, okay. And then the Prescribed Burn Association of Amador, El Dorado County they're applying for some planning money to do prescribed burning education. And I'm sure there's other ones that we don't even know about. So Megan's smiling. Yeah, asking. Yeah. But it was a really good exercise for kind of getting us organized in our planning areas, looking at where our priority areas are. I think we're still in the process of figuring that out, but we're kind of light years ahead of where we were even a year ago. So I just want to thank all the fire safe councils who got involved in this, and South County Lester really did a ton, and all the South County fire safe councils really, it was just a whirlwind trying to pull all that together. Mosquito, everybody. So yeah, it was a good exercise, and even if we don't get this one, we have the bones for the next grant proposals. So, any questions?
I'm gonna just toot Tamara's horn for a second, because there were about 2 weeks there where this is all she did. And kudos to everybody that was getting rapid turnaround back to her when she was looking for information. But she was a dog on the bone, because it wasn't just the CAL FIRE grants. There was, as she mentioned, there were multiple other ones, all with tight deadlines. And she's been out there on the front line representing us to try to get those. And she mentioned it, you've heard it, but she's on speed dial with Tanya. It was on the RCD. I mean, she's with the Forest Service. I mean, this has been a very collaborative discussion trying to get all these moved forward. But Tamara's really, on behalf of the councils, led the charge to get our grants in and done. So thank you, Chris.
I also wanted to comment on your process. I was there day one when we had the meeting at 5:15. We had the discussion about what strategy we're going to have. I saw you and your facial expressions at the time as you were elaborating on what was going to be happening and what kind of timeline it was going to be. It's phenomenal that you've accomplished it. It's the leadership. Obviously, there's a lot behind it, but it's the leadership that you provide, and thank you very much for that.
Yeah, she says, hold the applause till we get to mine, but no, we're not holding you. All right, great, thank you, Tamara. All right, moving on, assistance programs, Jessica.
Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to announce my new office hours. I will be in office off of 515 Main Street, Suite 103, from 8:15 a.m. to 3:15 p.m. Monday through Thursday. And just because I'm not in the office doesn't mean I'm not available by phone. For those of you who don't have my phone number, it is 530-957-6270. I'm here for all your needs with assistance programs.
So I was gonna say, Linda.
Yeah. Yes. So with that being said, the year-to-date numbers for our assistance programs. I'm going to start with the chipping program. Hopefully those of you who did receive the email also got the attachment that has this report. It's labeled 2025 year-to-date report, and so this will be sent with the board agenda every month. That is the one. It is colorful.
Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you. Our chipping program, year-to-date, we've completed 550 jobs. We've cleared 988 acres. We've chipped 91,950 cubic yards, and we've spent $262,614.34. For defensible space, we have evaluated 411 properties. We've cleared 367. The average cost per parcel is $1,288.83. We've spent $514,653.63. Out of those 367 parcels we've completed, 91 of them were veterans, 336 of them were seniors, 86 of them were low income, and 102 of them were disabled residents. For hazardous tree, we have assessed 151 new parcels. We've completed 121. We've identified 453 new trees, and we have cut 418 trees. The average tree cost is $383.25, and we have spent $185,873. Do we have any questions? Oh, and we are also hosting a community chipping event in Strawberry, September 22nd, also Wrights Lake, Dark Lake area. Just so you guys know, community events are still available. If you'd like to organize one for your community, you can get with me after the meeting.
Awesome. Thank you.
Excellent.
Perfect. All right, so training committee, Elizabeth is out of the country for the meeting, so I don't know, Hugh or anybody from the committee have anything you would like to update us on? Or okay, we'll defer the training committee report until next month. Outreach and education, Dorothy.
Outreach and education, we have a committee we're working on right now, developing a survey that's going to go out to all the fire safe councils. The idea is we want to hear where your needs are, where concerns are, where we're doing well, what else we can do better, increase our organization's efficiency and support in the areas of outreach, which would be events and publicizing educational materials, and for recruitment and retention of volunteers, because we know, we want to keep increasing our volunteer base. Just help spread work around. So when the surveys come out, and I say surveys because we're trying to break these down into pieces, they may be semi-lengthy. However, we'll try to keep it as short and sweet as possible. But again, this is your time to be able to get information back to the group so that we can continue to work on it. This is not your only time to be able to give input, but it's we will be putting it out via email. So look forward to that in coming into September. And again, always follow us, El Dorado County Fire Safe Council, on our Facebook page. There's also, and blast that out because it's a wonderful resource. OWOPR has a Facebook page, and of course CAL FIRE has a Facebook page. So there's lots of good information that's out there. Okay. Any questions? End report.
Thank you, Dorothy. All right, next up, community council reports. So round robin of what's going on around the Associate Fire Safe Council Network. Who'd like to go first?
Whoa. No hands up?
Then Karen.
So, sorry for those loaded questions. Just a quick update. I'd like to thank RCD, especially for the continuing work that's going on in our area. It's progressing nicely. If you've driven up Starks Grade recently, if you can get up Starks Grade with all the traffic controls, up above, they're creating a shaded fuel break, so that's very nice. The other thing to report is we will be preparing our 3-year planning report for fire wise. And besides that, we are having at the end of the month, just for our community, if anyone's thinking of coming by, don't, it's so Les and I will be there, and we will have an information table, hopefully to grab some people before they get their hot dog and their ice cream and leave. So that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Suzanne. Karen?
As some of you know, Mosquito Road was closed from the end of May until August 3rd. So during that time, we had all that wonderful grant work going on off of La Paz and Mosquito Road. So nobody really got to see it because everyone had to go out Rock Creek. And as soon as it opened on August 3rd, we have just been, the work that was done, everybody finally got to see it, was just amazed at how wonderful and clear it was. And we continue to get lots of thank yous from the residents that were included in it for all of the updates that RCD gave us. And we're hoping to get RCD to come speak at a block party that we want to do for the completion of this grant. And I don't know if there's before and after photos or videos that we got at our last, after our last grant work, but it was amazing, an amazing job that they did. So thank you to everyone involved in that.
Thanks, Karen. Others, I know you're not this shy. Ken?
Ken McKinstry, Gallagher Road, Fire Safe Council. We did a bit of an effort related to roadside clearances. And to help spark the interest, I used a picture of one of the highways during the Paradise Fire, which was one of their evacuation routes. And shortly before that, they had on the news a 2-acre fire in Sacramento, and they had a picture of the roadway, and you couldn't see 20 feet. That helped spark a little interest in the community. I was pushing the roadside clearance standards, and I can now report we have 84% of the community that has taken steps to create those clearances, including 2 individuals that traditionally do nothing. So we have some progress.
Nice work, Ken.
We also have a team of volunteers that go around, and for those who have challenges, they do some of the clearances also. I'm not sure who to compliment on this, but there's been a lot of work on Salmon Falls Road, where they've been clearing the sides of the road. It's a major evacuation route for a lot of the area up there in the peninsula area. And they've done a fantastic job of clearing the roadside. So whoever's responsible, thank you very much. I'm not sure if it's CAL FIRE or RCD or one of the grants, but they've done fantastic work. And they've had a whole variety of people, contractors, CAL FIRE, etc., staff working on it. So great job and thank you. Another area, PG&E is doing a power infrastructure upgrade. And part of the things that they've done over the years is the clearings under the power lines. And a lot of their work is giving us some of the, I guess you'd say, a fire break under the power lines. And their efforts are greatly appreciated. Other than that, One area that came out of a couple of meetings was roadside striping and reflectors. And we have a private road. And the need for reflectors and striping, if you're evacuating in smoke, is pretty important. Just a thought. Other than that, that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Let's shift to online. We've got Sherry Hawk.
Hi, everyone. Just a quick update. We were surprised to see some county signs about a month ago that said they were going to be doing some work in our area, and they have. And it's been amazing, and I don't know who's responsible to get the county DOT to come back up here after about 8 years, but they have been clearing our roadsides, doing a beautiful job. The community is very, very happy about that for the most part. Sometimes you get a dogwood and they're not real happy about that, but so that's been really great news. The PO, in conjunction with the POA, we pointed out some areas that of steep terrain that the mastication crews could not do when we had USDA in here. And so we've got contractors in that steep terrain, basically to try and just clear some more area that if we had a fire come from Weber Creek, we would be a little more protected. September 20th, we will have our dumpster day, and that is open to the public. We've sent out postcards this year, hoping they'll put them on their refrigerator and remember and get a lot more participation than we have in years past. So that's all I have, everyone. Oh, and I'm Sherry Hawk with Gold Ridge Forest. Might want to know that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. Right, others? Let's go Tamara, and then we'll go back to, come back up to Mike.
Okay, Tamara Johnston, Georgetown Divide Fire Safe Council. I mostly have a question for the group. We finally have 8 volunteer assessors out doing assessments, which are going really well, but we've been having a conversation about, does anybody actually implement anything after we leave? So we're considering doing follow-up calls 3 months later just to check in and see what people have done. And I'm just curious, is anybody else doing that already or having these kinds of conversations about, is this working? Hugh, do you know?
I haven't really heard from anyone that they've done that. In Texas Hill, because we're so small, when we drive around, I mean, I can see as I drive through the neighborhoods, just going different places, I can look at the houses we've done and see whether any progress is being done or not. And there is some, I mean, just what you'd expect. Some people get right on it and do a lot. Other people, they pick away at it, and but there is progress just about on every one that we've looked at. Some a lot more than others.
I think we were thinking maybe it would just be a nice little poke if people haven't done anything to call them. Anyway, I was just curious if anybody else is doing follow-up at all, but seems like maybe not at this point, because yeah.
Yeah, because we're a HOA, we do have an enforcement mechanism, to put it technically. But one thing I heard that was interesting, quite a few months ago, the city of Novato in Marin County, they have involved the county fire agency, and they actually go out and do the same sort of thing. I don't think they issue fines or anything, but I think that would be an interesting thing to investigate, is number one, centralize the data and the information gathered, and then we, as an HOA, we hired a part-time administrator. We submit our evaluations, and she notifies the folks about what we've evaluated. And so I think that would, I don't know if that's ever been discussed on a countywide level, to not necessarily have a enforcement mechanism, but a centralized point for gathering the data on what's already been done.
Thank you. Bob?
Bob Hess, Close Lotus. Just want to let you know, we have a public meeting scheduled for September 11th. Our speakers are going to be OES and our CD. And we have an insurance guy. It's going to be back by popular demand. This will be the third time he's spoken to us. A real knowledgeable guy from Placer County that seems to have good answers. And we're expecting a pretty good crowd. Also, I had an interesting, Angel was involved with an interesting conversation regarding Gold Hill. We have annexed part of about half of the Gold Hill community here a while back. We've been working on a risk assessment survey, which is this online survey that we do, and got some calls from some people in a different part of Gold Hill represented by the Gold Hill Estates Fire Safe Council, and asked if we could include them in the risk assessment and the Firewise community. So we expanded, actually doubled the size of that Firewise community. We just closed off the risk assessment. We got 50% response, which was really good on our online surveys. And speaking of that, we had created this online survey. Janet Barbieri, our secretary, Janet Hayes, our outreach director, and I, about 3 years ago, we've used it for all of our Firewise communities. And we're currently working on one for the request of a guy in Garden Park, which is outside of our fire, it's in Canada's Fire Safe Council. So we just turned that one over to him, and he's got quite a few responses already. And that's as of Sunday. I know Janet helped Kit Verkamp with a similar survey in Cool. So the online survey works really well. And that's it for me.
Thanks, Bob. Mike Conley, Auburn Lake Trails.
Yeah, I'm Mike Connolly with Auburn Lake Trails. We had a Green Waste Dumpster Day on July 19th. It was 3 20 cubic yard dumpsters, and we were able to fill them all in 3 hours. So wow. A very successful program. We also have just completed work on a 32-acre shaded fuel break that we did inside of Auburn Lake Trails on property owner association land, and it was funded by PG&E. So that was a successful completion of the project. And we made an award to the RCD to be project managers for a 350-acre shaded fuel break that we have underway in a grant from CAL FIRE. And as Courtney alluded to, we have started work on that. We have evaluated or in the process of awarding contracts to the environmental consulting firm and to the registered professional forester. So thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Others?
Hi. Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello, yes, go ahead.
It's Terry from Ockham Fairplay.
Go ahead, Terry.
Hi, yeah, I just wanted to let you know we're finishing up our 3-year Firewise renewal project. And also we have changed our start times for our gatherings to be 6:30 now. And tonight having a speaker from Fire Zone at Placer Zone Hardening Company. And we're very thankful to the South County Fuel Reduction Project and RCD for all the work that they're doing down in our area.
Thank you, Terry. Anyone else? All right. Thank you. All right, we're up to public comment. Any open public comment not already addressed previously? Chris?
For those items not on the agenda, I just have a couple. One of them is Supervisor Turnbull, District 1 Supervisor, also the Chair of the Board of Supervisors, had commented to me about him not being able to come to our meeting. He looks to me to inform him as to what's going on. I've known him for many, many years. He wanted me to allude to comment, which the fellows here from Grizzly Flats are probably aware of this, that Max House, which is one of those Title 25, a new title set up for specifically Grizzly Flats, is now fully fully constructed in terms of the outer shell. And now they'll be going in, hopefully getting him into the first house since the fire by this fall, or by this winter. And this is a big deal because the very first one, obviously, we know the story about parachutes and other locations, but recognizing it's taken this long to get the first house rebuilt is important. And that's Supervisor Turnbull wanted me to comment on that. Also, excuse me. Yeah, and I believe there was a lot of donations in and support from Home Depot and others who.
Mark, what's the name of the charity? Do you know?
It's the nonprofit construction company.
Thank you.
So a lot goes into this in terms of rebuilding but this is significant. Mac's been waiting a long time. The second thing I wanted to tell you about, as the landlord of 515, I've had some conversations with Carrie and Jessica because I have an office there at 515. There's some things that we're working on. One is parking. The second one is Wi-Fi strength, making sure that we have a system that works functionally. And we're looking for fiber to come in the city of Placerville to help with that. But also the fact that there's just not enough parking. So for those who come to 515, if you drive through, there's no parking spots. Just find the closest parking lot. But please use 515. The Fire Safe Council, of which we're here today, this is set up for you. So please visit. And then the other thing I wanted to say was there's a lot of construction going on. Just be safe. Be patient. It just takes a few minutes. And obviously that's my comments for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. All right, anything else? All right, well, we are, wow, I know, I don't want to jinx it, but we're never ahead of schedule, but we are. So I guess for the group, and I kind of want to look at Scott, are you comfortable going early? Are you giving the presentation today? Okay, so how about if we do this? So we kind of put in our agenda, it would be at 12:30 or no more than 30 minutes after the close of the meeting. And I don't want to keep everybody around all day just waiting, and we will be recording, it'll be broadcast on Zoom, we'll be recording it. But why don't we plan to adjourn, then we'll reconvene at 11:30 for the presentation, and I think that'll work. So again, very much appreciate the brown bag on evacuations and encourage everybody to stay for that. Our next meeting is September 17th, and again, thank you everybody for joining us today. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, members of the board. Have a great day.
And for those online, we will log back in at the same Zoom email link.
Hey, Carrie.